used to live on an island to the west of Solitude. I would guess they still do. By the way, my name is Serana. Good to meet you.
Anything else?
Actually, yes. I was expecting you to introduce yourself since, you know, I just told you my name. Likewise. And sorry for the sudden request. I know it's a lot to ask of a stranger you just met, but I swear it's important. I promise I don't mean any harm. I hope for your sake it's not because I have a pretty face. What if I'm secretly planning on making you my emergency food, huh? I'm kidding, of course. Don't worry, I'll make sure nothing bad happens to you when we get there. What now?
Why are you looking at me like that?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. You wouldn't happen to be a regatta from Yokoda, right? Oh, so your ancestors finally settled on Tamriel, did they? I only read stories about your people. I never thought you'd give up your sailor ways. Which means that my knowledge of the current world is vastly outdated, by far. I have a lot of catching up to do. Shouldn't we keep moving? I really want to get back home.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I just never saw an elf of your kind before. Yeah, I never even heard of dark-skinned or red-eyed elves. I was starting to think you were a Daedra. I guess your kind must be new to Tamriel, right? Really? I don't imagine the Chime are sharing their territory with someone else. They already have a rocky relationship with the Dwemer. What? How much has the world changed since... Sorry. I need a minute to process this. Oh hey, you're awake. I suppose I should welcome you into our clan. I didn't expect you to turn your back on your vampire hunter faction, though. What made you switch sides so quickly? Yeah, living forever is a very tempting deal. I guess it was obvious. I just hope for your sake that you don't have any regrets when you look back. Eternity can change you. A lot. In any case, welcome to Clan Volkihar. Say hello to the court, but try not to pick sides. Their squabbles aren't worth it. I need some time to get used to the change myself, so I'd prefer to be alone for the moment. We can talk later. And thank you for bringing me home. I forgot to tell you earlier.
Tried to hire me for a trip to Dragonbridge, but I told him that ain't one of my stops.
So now that we're stuck together, shouldn't we start getting to know one another? Having just a business-like relationship feels a little dull if you ask me.
This'll clear up soon.
That's not
I'm
something
sure
you're
of it.
supposed to ask a lady, you know? Look, just tell me something about you. Wait, like the Nord legend about a mortal with the blood and soul of a dragon? I knew that dragons had returned to Skyrim and a Dragonborn was out there
This rain will
hunting
stop
them.
eventually.
But that was you?
Always does.
Talk about coincidence. I'm pretty sure you don't get paid for it, but it's still pretty interesting. Speaking of which, what did you do to earn a living before you joined us? Like a bounty hunter? Interesting. You must have been in so many places. As someone who's been living in the same place most of her life, I must admit, I find your life sort of exciting. I know we just met and all, but if you don't mind, I'd like to tag along for your jobs. It's the perfect excuse to explore the province. It's around the side of the castle. Let's move. All right, off we go. Well, I haven't seen my mother since she locked me away, so... Yes. I don't even know what to say to her. As time went on, it was harder for me to talk to her. She just... changed, you know? I guess it's what happens when you gain eternal life. The older you get, the more pragmatic you become. And there's the age gap, too. It's always harder to approach someone older than you, isn't it? True, but then again, I've been sleeping for who knows how long, so maybe I haven't reached that point yet. At least, mentally. Speaking of which, how old are you? I figured as much. I almost took you for a teenager when we first met. I think you're even younger than I was when I became a vampire. At least I can act like the supervising adult without people finding it weird. I mean it. You're barely an adult when it comes to experience. You need someone responsible to tell you when you're making a terrible decision. During the first era, in the year... Hold up! I told you not to ask me that! Oh, so that's what this was all about. Well, I actually do feel less tense, so I guess it worked out after all. But seriously, don't bring up my age ever again. Speaking of which, how old are you? Really? Oh yeah, you're an elf. Sorry. I keep forgetting that your kind lives up to 300 years. I'm actually glad you're that old. At least now I know I'm hanging out with someone as mature as I am. So, how are you holding up? Well, the reason we can pass through that portal is because we vampires no longer count among the living. However, as far as I'm concerned, you only turned into one recently, so I just wanted to be sure if you were okay. Yeah, I guess I was needlessly worried. Had you crossed as a mortal? You probably don't want to know. Yes, I guess it is. Now that we're on the subject, there's something I wanted to ask you about. How did it feel to lose your mortality? I don't remember anymore, so I was hoping you could share your experience with me. Really? I thought the difference would be abysmal. I guess I've been thinking about it too much, but there's no reason to look back.
What do you mean?
It's not easy to explain. When my family decided to do the ritual, I didn't feel like I had a choice. I felt a lot of pressure in the days leading up to that moment. Don't get me wrong. I don't regret becoming a vampire, but I was forced to give up my chance at a normal life. I remember I struggled a lot with this change for decades, so I know how difficult it must have been for you. But, to be honest, I'm glad you chose to join us. You're the only one in the castle that is actually fun to talk to. No. Thank you for talking to me about it. Come on, let's get going. Ugh, the smell here. Let's try to handle this quickly. So, how are you holding up? Your body just went through an intense transformation. Isn't it taking its toll on you? I know that feeling too well. I should have warned you about it. Even now, I still feel that pain from time to time. But don't worry. I'm sure it'll go away. You're not like me, after all. It's fine. I'm the one who brought it up. I was concerned about you, but I guess you'll be all right. Come to think about it, the fact that it was me who turned you into a vampire may have made you different from the rest.
What do you mean?
Think about it as a family tree. I was turned directly by Molag Bal, the father of all vampires. That would make you a second generation. In theory, this should grant you the same power that the one my father offered to you as a reward when you brought me home. The abilities of the Vampire Lord may come in handy, so I guess this isn't so bad. Oh yeah, he's gonna be pissed when we get back. Anyway, we should get going. Start putting your new powers to the test while we're at it. You're going to need them. So, how are you holding up? It's not the first time I've partially soul-trapped a creature, but I never tried it on a mortal. Really? What a relief. I thought it would take its toll on you. To be honest, I thought turning you into a vampire was the better option, but this worked out better than I thought. No, that's not what I meant. I would never want this for you. I mean, as advantageous as it is, sometimes the price isn't worth it. I guess it depends on the individual. Well, I learned to appreciate it, so yes. But I also realized that if something lasts too much, it ends up deteriorating. Just look at how my family ended up. Even our friendship would end up falling apart if we both lived forever. I don't know. Maybe that's why part of me was hoping you'd agree to become a vampire. But that was selfish. Nobody should make a choice of this magnitude for you. I should just cherish whatever time we have together. Well, you're the first true friend I ever had. I never had anyone to open up to, or just talk about normal stuff and have fun. It feels nice. Thank you. Yeah, although maybe this isn't the best place to talk about this. Let's get going. Right behind you.
You okay?
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you something. About your childhood. What was it like? That's kind of sweet, actually. I mean, I know it was hard to live under those conditions, but finding happiness in spite of that sounds like a fairy tale. But then again, I was born rich, so maybe I'm not one to talk. Well, it's something I was hoping we could talk about. Do you mind? Well, when you brought me back home, I asked my father if my stuff was still there. Surprisingly, he hadn't discarded it like he did with my mother's. Among other things, I found a small portrait of a little girl embracing a dog. I thought it had been misplaced. So I started asking some of the castle staff if it was theirs, until one of them pointed out that the girl looked just like me. And he was right. That girl was me, and I had a dog. Yeah, and everyone remembers them even long after they pass away. But I had no idea. I don't even remember having a dog. And that's not all. I also had a tray containing 20 dissected specimens of butterflies. I don't remember ever collecting them. There was so much stuff there, and none of that seemed familiar. Exactly. I feel like I've lost a fragment of my identity. Even if I moved on from those things, I should still remember that they were a part of my life. You think so? I'm not so sure. The more I think about it, the more I believe that the passage of time is weighing on me, you know? I'm just wondering if that's what happened to my father, and he just stopped caring for the past. What if I end up doing what he did? I know, but for how long? You don't know what he was like when I was younger. It's true he was distant, but deep down he cared about me. Now he's willing to kill me to achieve his goals. How long will I be me until my identity erodes like his did? Right, sorry. You're right. I can't live in fear of what I may become just because it happened to my father. No, it didn't happen. He chose this, and I won't follow in his footsteps. Thank you for helping me realize it. I know you are. Thank you.
What do you mean, how do I feel? That bastard is the reason my father went insane with that prophecy. If he hadn't created it, my family wouldn't have been separated over it. I hate him, and he deserved every bad thing that happened to him. A victim? Are you joking? How can you sympathize with someone who wanted to condemn the entire world because he wanted revenge against a god? He even drove the remains of his own people to extinction. He didn't care whose lives he ruined as long as he got what he wanted. And you're telling me that I have to feel sorry for him?
No, that's not... Look, I know you're trying to tell me that the world isn't black and white, but that doesn't change the fact that he was willing to do horrible things in order to get what he wanted. Nobody told him to do it. It was his choice, and he went through with it with no regard for other people's well-being. Just like my father. Oh, what is it? Yeah, now that we've, well, dealt with my father, I think that it's safe for my mother to return to our world. We have to go to the Soul Cairn and tell her. She doesn't have a way of knowing what's going on out here. Besides, who knows what the Ideal Masters will do to her this time if we don't get her out of there soon. You know, I've never been to the throat of the world before. I read once that Aurora Borealis are common at the top. Always wanted to see them. Why? Because it's cold? That's not stopping me, that's for sure. Although hiking is no fun if you're not doing it with friends. I guess we'll have to wait until next year when summer comes back. It's a bummer we just missed it. But if your only problem is the cold, then why don't you just shout fire to the air to warm up the temperature or something? Fine, we'll wait. A year.
I found an interesting magazine the other day. I ended up subscribing.
You've got to admit, as far as pranks go, this is a good one. I know, that's what makes it so funny. Relax, I'm only joking. Don't get so worked up about it. Which is where the mountain we were planning to return the horn is located, isn't it? Whoever took it could have waited for you in Iverstead or right here. But instead they went out of their way to travel north, and then back south. I mean, if they knew you were after the horn, then I'm sure they knew you would deliver it to the Greybeards eventually. So you may have been made a fool of, but who's the actual idiot who went through unnecessary lengths just to contact you? Now quit complaining and let's get out of this tomb already, okay?
So you're the Dragonborn I've been hearing so much about. I think you're looking for this.
Well, at least she gave us the horn right away. I guess it won't hurt to listen to what she has to say. Well, there's two of us, and I could always seduce her if she tries anything. With vampiric seduction, you idiot. One way or another, she'll tell us what her deal is. Afterwards, we can just go to High Hrothgar and deliver the horn.
Dovahkiin, you have tasted the voice of the Greybeards and passed through unscathed. High Hrothgar is open to you.
Are you alright? Their yelling almost caused me a headache, and I wasn't even at the center like you.
I said, how do you feel? But that gives me an idea. Thank you. Let me know when your hearing is restored so that we can continue. Those dragons aren't gonna kill themselves.
Oh, that's too precious.
Good afternoon.
I guess you're
I'm
almost ready to
Pantea,
infiltrate the party.
master vocalist.
All that's left is finding you a nice attire. I guess Delphine's got that covered. I thought you'd never ask. I've been to dozens of parties hosted by my parents, so you're right to assume this is my area of expertise. If you want to blend in, you're going to have to spend a lot of time in the party itself before beginning the infiltration. That means you're going to have to talk with the other guests, including the host. Trust me, every guest wants to be friends of the host if they have political power, and you must be no different if you want to blend in. If you start avoiding them, they'll get suspicious, so make sure to do some bootlicking so that they let their guard down around you. Then, once you blend in, try figuring out the guests themselves. Find the right strings to pull so that they can cause a good distraction. Alternatively, if you have friends in high places and they happen to attend the party, maybe you can ask them for a favor. Then, once you get your distraction and everyone's focused on it, you walk away, slowly. And that's pretty much everything. I really wish I could go with you, but I don't think Delphine can pull an invitation from me. Unless you can find a way to get me into the party as your date or something. In which case, do make sure I wear something nice, okay?
Farewell.
Nice ambience. It's even more upbeat than the parties I'm used to. What? Oh, right, let's see. That Yakuden's sitting there. Sorry, the Red Guard, I mean, doesn't seem to be enjoying himself. That's something worth looking into. Though it's risky, and he doesn't sound sober. He may end up exploding on your face and bringing attention to you. Have you talked to the other guests? Pay attention to what they're doing. That Eriker, for example, seems to be drooling over something. Although it would be easier if you had a friend here, and less risky. Absolutely. I missed going to parties like this. All that's left is for someone to take this lady for a dance, don't you think? So now that the party's over, how would you describe your experience? Quite an adventure, huh? It's a shame we can't go there anymore, considering they put you on their blacklist and, by extension, me. Even I felt tense at my family's parties sometimes. The guests often approached me to get to know me better. And it got really awkward when they started introducing me to their sons. I often would sneak out of the parties whenever I was fed up with them. Absolutely, and you passed with flying colors. Good job. Come on, let's tell Delphine what you found out.
For that to stand out down here, he must really be off his nut.
If you're looking for conversation, the flagon isn't the place.
I know I should have expected a sewer to smell this bad, but you're telling me that Esbern has been living here since the end of the Great War? He better be a Nosmic, because I don't think he'd survive this stench for so many years otherwise. It is already killing me. I won't pretend that the castle's sewers were the pinnacle of hygiene, but at least it didn't smell like... I don't even want to describe this smell. Anyway, let's do this quickly. And watch where you step. Remember that everything that people throw down the toilet winds up here.
No useless trash. Where'd I put my annotated
Well,
annual?
that took an interesting turn. But at least we found Esbern alive. Let's get out of this sewer and, if possible, never come back. I couldn't take another dose of this stench, even if my life depended on it.
Well, I guess that's good enough. Let's be off.
Are we ready then?
Don't worry, I'll get Esbern there in one piece. We'll wait for you near Karthspire. Good luck.
You wouldn't happen to know who these Akaviri people that Esbern mentioned are, would you? Then I guess I'll have to ask Esbern later. He seems well versed in the subject. Shortly after you brought me back home, I tried to mend my relationship with my father. The result was as depressing as you might expect. During the conversation, however, the curved blade he was carrying caught my attention. I had never seen it before, so I asked him about it. He told me he had gone to several auctions to buy Akaviri artifacts over the years. There was something captivating about their aesthetic, he said. I was genuinely interested, so I asked him more about the Akaviri. Besides, it seemed like the perfect excuse to spend some quality time together. And that's when he told me to stop wasting his time. Even his own daughter wasn't worth sharing his hobbies with.
Yeah, sure. You too, Delphine. You'll be safe.
Yeah, but as usual, he was selfish with the things he possessed. Anyway, enough about family dramas. Let's get to Karthwasten.
Greet me not as mortal, but as Dova.
Yul!
Ah, yes.
Would you look at that? A dragon that isn't trying to kill you for a change.
Runs strong in you. It is long since I had the pleasure of speech with one of my own kind.
Well, good thing he knew some manners and introduced himself, am I right? I like him already. Anyway, that Elder Scroll isn't gonna find itself. We should get going. You're right. These things seem to have taken a liking to us. Or rather, to make our lives more complicated. Prophecies are such a hassle. Yeah, although your prophecy brings hope, while mine brings doom. But enough about that. Let's get to business. Everything you do just has to do with dungeon delving, does it? You may as well be the Dwemerborn. Now, I can't claim to understand most of his hogwash, but he did mention Blackreach. You know what that is. Don't worry, I got you covered. Blackreach is a massive layer below Skyrim soil. Think of it as an underground bubble with its own ecosystem and everything. I wish. I only heard stories of that place. Sadly, Blackreach was the territory of other vampire clans, so venturing there would have been a declaration of war. However, when I asked the court when you brought me back home, they told me that they had been dealt with long ago. It should be safe now. So in case you didn't get the hint, I want to go with you. You know I'm not a fan of caves, but Blackreach must be truly something to behold. Incredible. Simply incredible. Poofed. Only if you're afraid of the dark. Though, I guess you can't appreciate its beauty if everything down here wants to kill you. Not that the surface is any different in that regard. Absolutely, no wonder the Night Hollow clan was based here. It's exotic, well hidden, and best of all, no sunlight. Though the ambience is too humid for my taste. Oh, shut up. Who makes a field laboratory in a Falmer-infested cave? I mean, no disrespect, but this poor soul had it coming. Don't lie. You were just randomly pressing buttons, were you? He just had to be a sore loser, didn't he? Why die with your dignity intact when you can just fly away at your earliest convenience? That's the firstborn of Akatosh for you. I'll even admit I thought we wouldn't survive the battle. If I remember this right, a ghost of Alduin was summoned to threaten the reign of Ysmir Wolfhearth during the 6th century. Eventually he was defeated by Shore's own ghost in Sovngarde. Maybe that's the only place he can be killed. I don't know how credible my source is, though. It's from a legend from not too long ago. Of course it is. Anyway, I don't think I can be of much help to you in this matter. Sorry. Do we really need to travel to the 2 furthest cities in Skyrim just to deliver a message? Couriers exist for a reason, you know.
He knows that. They all know that.
We're never gonna get there.
How long are you going to wait?
Why delay? Please, take your seat so that we can begin.
You heard the old man. Get yourself a seat. You got this.
Any advice?
Sorry to disappoint, but we nobles don't necessarily make good politicians. Just look at my father. Honestly, I'd say use your new authority as you see fit. You won't get another chance to be the most powerful woman in Skyrim. I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to make everyone happy, so just focus on picking out who gets the short end of the stick. Now don't keep them waiting. You got this.
It won't last.
So how did the weight of Skyrim's politics feel on your shoulders? I could tell. You barely tried to be impartial. I would have handled it differently in your shoes, but I'd say you did a decent job. Now let's capture ourselves a dragon.
There's one more.
Shut up!
Right behind you. Honestly, I don't know. You've been put in a very difficult position. I can't say Delphine's arguments are sound, but there's a chance she's right. Even if it's for different reasons.
What do you mean?
Well, I like Parthenax, and I appreciate his wisdom. He's proven to be an invaluable ally. However, what if it's all just an act? What if he only sided with us to further his own agenda? And let's not forget you're the only being in all Tamriel who can permanently kill a dragon. He may have been waiting for someone like you. What if he needed you to kill Alduin so that he could become the new dragon overlord? And who knows what he'll do once you pass away? Look, I don't want you to suspect him. Even I don't believe what I'm saying, but no one can really know what someone's truly thinking. I believe you should confront him directly. See what he has to say for himself. And then, whatever choice you make, I'll support you. So, you went through with it after all. Good. It's probably best if you don't have any regrets about it. I'm glad you actually thought this through. It's likely the Greybeards already know what happened here. We should... I don't want to imagine how they'll react once we pass by. I hope this was worth it.
Open the trap!
You sure about that? You want to let that dragon loose after all the trouble to catch him in there?
Yes, I'm sure.
Your funeral. Someone else is gonna have to help you get him back in there again.
I guess you'll be leaving now, won't you?
This seems like a really bad idea to me.
Carry on, soldier.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to fight Alduin where he's at his most powerful. Your previous clash might pale in comparison. But what worries me the most is this place that Dragon mentioned, Skuldafn. If that's the gateway between our world and Sovngarde, then there's a chance Alduin has it heavily guarded. Even if you manage to fight your way to the gate, you'll be exhausted once you cross it. Alduin may have an edge if you fight him in that state. Well, if you die in battle, you'll go to Sovngarde anyway. So there's your plan B. Oh, come now. You know I'm just kidding. To be fair, you've pushed through anything the world has thrown at you. So maybe I'm just needlessly worried. Though I would be less worried about you if I could come along, assuming it's possible. Look, I'll leave it up to you. If you want to do this alone, then I'll wait for you to return. And if you find a way to bring me with you, then we'll face the World Eater together. Either way, I know you'll be victorious in the end. Thank you for bringing me along. I'll feel better now that I can help you fight your way through.
I ventured into quite a few Nord ruins in my day. I keep thinking I see something moving in the shadows.
Hey, that's what friends are for, aren't we? Come on, let's save the world.
Zu Odaving, call me when you have need, and I will come if I can.
We did it! I can't believe it. We actually beat the World Eater. Oh, shut up. We both know you did the heavy lifting back there. Really? I don't think you won just because you're a Dragonborn. You worked really hard to grow powerful in your own right. You gave our world another chance. And you did it of your own free will. We are alive thanks to you. You didn't? That's strange. Unless...
Go on.
Well, some cultures consider Akatosh and Alduin opposite aspects of the god of time. The former represents the beginning, and the latter the end. Maybe your purpose wasn't actually to kill him, but rather to destroy his physical form so that his essence could return to the dragon god of time. Which might mean that the world wasn't meant to end today, but that doesn't mean that it will last forever. No, that's not what I meant. Look, everything is meant to end at some point. It's the nature of our universe. Anything that lasts too much ends up decaying. What made it once beautiful withers away, and it becomes nothing but a colorless husk. And I think that's the point of the end times, of Alduin's existence, to remind us of that inevitability. One day, our world will crumble on itself, and Alduin will come to end it so that Akatosh can create a new one in its place. But that day obviously isn't today, and certainly not the days of the Merethic era. Alduin wasn't meant to end the world just yet. Our will to keep on living and courage to fight him are proof of it. It's natural to fear it, but obsessing over it will blind you to what life can offer you. Me and my family, we were like that. But the time I spent with you has helped me realize something I forgot long ago. The beauty of life doesn't lie in its duration. It's our path, our choices, our actions. All those define our worth. It's true that more often than not, we don't have as much time as we wished we had. Life doesn't warn us when our time comes, and one way or another we're going to get hurt. But as long as we don't obsess over it, and focus on what truly brings us joy from time to time, we can still live fulfilling lives. With that being said, why are we standing around here? Come on, let's go out there and make some more stories.
Is it really you? I can't believe it!
Hey, I was worried, you know? I haven't heard from you in almost a day. I guess I underestimated you. You have proven to be powerful in your own right, and that merit is yours. Not the prophecies. Nobody forced you to go there and face Alduin. You did this on your own volition. For all of us. We are alive thanks to you.
I found an interesting magazine the other day.
What does that note say?
I ended up subscribing.
Are you all right? What does that note say? Okay. And what does that tell us? Oh, I get it. This Mirac is probably just some clown who gained fame by pretending to be a Dragonborn, until you came along and ruined his circus. He's probably going to keep sending assassins until you turn out dead. So it may be best if we deal with him as soon as possible. Worst case scenario, he's a conjurer with a couple of deadly spells in his arsenal. Nothing we can't handle. I mean, I've never been to Solstheim. Why wouldn't I? I know we have to beat this Mirac guy, but... I mean, come on. Surely we can find some time to explore, can't we? This is quite the contrast.
I was starting to wonder what happened to...
I don't know how to describe it, but it's... exotic. I guess that's what makes it so appealing. I read a lot about Morrowind's vegetation on our way here. If the Dunmer migrated here, then maybe they brought some of their plants with them. And I just happen to be an alchemy enthusiast.
Nothing I can do about it. Damn it, Jolland, you know we don't have that much coin.
Have I told you how much I adore you? Don't worry, I'm sure both of us will end up enjoying the experience. Let's deal with our clown. And then, the fun begins.
I'm here to help you.
Look at these people. They have been completely stripped of their will. They remind me of the thralls vampires usually feed on, except on a massive scale.
Here do we toil.
He will be by the time we're done with him, believe me. That idiot sent his own cultists after you instead of hiring actual assassins. His sloppy execution makes it clear he's not very smart. Raw power can only get you so far if you don't use your head. We just need to find a weakness to exploit once we fight him. Okay, so everyone keeps saying that Mirac has been dead for millennia and his return is impossible, right? Have you thought that maybe the guy we're looking for is just someone else using his name? Simple. It's not his power. Something of this magnitude must have been done by an artifact. No mortal, no matter how powerful, could pull this off. We're dealing with a Daedra worshipper, at worst. As soon as we get this artifact from him, his whole circus will crumble on itself. I'm telling you, you're overthinking it. Come on. The sooner we end this, the sooner we'll leave this cave. Sorry. That book. I knew it. It has to be the reason behind the mass mind control. Kind of stupid of him to leave it behind.
Perhaps Thorn can make sense of what is going on.
Are you all right? That book is Daedric. Leave it where it was. Wait, what? You saw him use a dragon shout? But you don't have to be a Dragonborn in order to learn how to use them. He has to be a faker.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why would Akatosh create two Dragonborns in the same era? Wait, if he had the assistance of a Daedric prince from that book, then maybe he found a way to extend his lifespan. Are you sure? Can a mortal really be that powerful? This is worse than I imagined. I take back what I said about the book. Keep it. It may give us some clues about the source of his power. I'm starting to think he wanted you to come. No wonder he sent his cultists with such an obvious clue of his whereabouts. So much for my clown theory. I came here hoping for a vacation, and you almost got killed for it. I know. I'm sorry I let my enthusiasm get the better of me. Anyway, let's follow Freya. She can help us figure out what to do next. You got the word? Good. Let's hurry back and help those villagers. Yeah, Sorry, I guess I'm still angry at myself for having been so casual about all this. Some assassins showed up to kill you, and all I could think about is going on a trip. And when I saw the Skull village so afflicted by these events, I began to think I had regressed to my former self.
What do you mean?
You remember how me and my family used to worship Molag Bal, do you? In exchange for our service, he granted us immortality. Well, most of that service included sacrifices, cruelty. In order to earn his favor, we had to prove our commitment to his sadistic practices. It's not like we enjoyed it, but we never thought about the morality of our actions, and I simply turned a blind eye to the suffering of our victims. I was completely apathetic during my early life, and I ignored the suffering of the people around me. I thought I had stopped being like that, but today, I didn't stop to think if the Dunmer from Raven Rock were suffering while under mind control. All I cared about was my vacation here. I know I may be overreacting, but I feel ashamed of acting the way I did. I should be better than this. I guess I wasn't that different from my father in that sense, was I? But I've changed. I looked at myself in the mirror and decided to be better, to make the effort of being more selfless. And trust me, acknowledging how far you've fallen takes much more courage than you think. It wasn't easy. Anyway, enough about me. The Skull need our help.
It's over! Okay, who's next?
Where did that thing come from?
Oh yeah? A 4-foot colossus was just lying in a pool that isn't even knee-deep.
Come on, you can't seriously believe it was there all along. It must have been summoned here.
I should have guessed as much. If we connect this creature to the book we found in the temple, I guess it's safe to assume we just fought a Daedra. Which confirms that Miraak is being backed by a Daedric prince. As if him being a Dragonborn wasn't bad enough. Well, even if that was possible, the Daedra are way more powerful, and most of them screw over the Divines for sport. No, we need Storn's input in this matter. He's proven to be our best lead so far. Let's make some more stories. That was the last of the stones. At least these people are finally free from Miraak's control. Yeah. I mean, you did most of the heavy lifting with your shouting, but at least I can say I did something about it too. Seriously, I hate how self-centered I was acting back then. Oh, Sure, what is it? What was that about? You got it all wrong. I know how this sounds, but I don't regret having done it. I know it was wrong, and I do feel guilt over that. But I don't want to insult them by regretting what I gained in exchange for their lives. That's why part of me feels as if I was spitting on their graves when I gave up my immortality. It's hard for me to come to terms with these feelings. I don't like this side of myself, but I can't ignore it like I did in my youth. Otherwise, I'll end up like my father. I don't think I would be who I am if I changed anything. I wouldn't even be here. I think that it needed to happen for me to start becoming a better person. I know it sounds cruel, but I can't make things right by drowning in regret. I have to move forward and prove to myself that I'm a better person now. So you don't need to worry about me. I'm fine, really. Yes? I don't think it's up to you to decide that. But thank you. Not sure I feel comfortable inside a fungus. The elevator thing is fun, though. What? Why? Now I get it. I'm ready when you are. That roar is making my skin crawl. It's Daedric, all right.
Follow me.
Ugh. I really didn't need a bath right now.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
I'm going to head back upstairs and see if the reading room has steam. So, it should be a simple matter to release the book.
I swear the Dwemer didn't give the automatons a shutdown button just to screw over us.
Hermaeus Mora learned some fascinating new ways to skin a hawker, and you become the second most powerful Dragonborn that ever lived.
Wait, before we continue, I need you to tell me everything that happened while you were reading that book. I should have known that he'd try to lure you to his side. This is exactly how most Daedric princes try to gain followers. Yes, and then he'll promise you more words, spells, and ways to cook a sweet roll. And before you realize, you'll be trapped under his servitude. Listen, as someone who once devoted herself to a Daedric lord, I need to warn you of what will happen if a Daedra starts taking an interest in you. First, he'll be nice to you. He'll tell you how special you are and promise you everything you can dream of. Then once you are within his clutches, the mask falls, and you'll exist solely to serve his will. Refuse, and you will suffer. Daedra think of mortals as pets or cattle. We're playthings, toys, property, and they don't let go once they have their grasp on us. This is exactly the game Hermaeus Mora is trying to play with you. You must be able to see it. Besides, look how easily he's willing to dispose of Miraak. If you become his servant, how long will it be until he replaces you in the same way? You haven't pledged yourself yet, which means he doesn't own your soul. It will be okay if you just take the word and then ignore him. Please, you have to remember that you are not like the rest of the mortals. Your dragon soul is extremely rare and valuable. The princes will try everything to lure you to their side. And once you pledge yourself to one of them, you'll be bound to that oath even after death.
Have you been paying attention to everything I just said? You know what? Do what you want. I don't care anymore.
Father! What have you done? Go. My father sacrificed himself so you could destroy Mirak and lift his master's shadow from the land. Go then. Kill Mirak. Do not... Freya.
Poor Freya. I wish she didn't have to see that. Damn, Mora. This is exactly what I meant earlier. He didn't have to kill Storn in order to take the knowledge. This murder was just out of spite. You have to make his sacrifice count. Go! End Mirak before he becomes too powerful! You have to. This is a Dragonborn we're talking about. I'll only get in the way. Believe me, I really wish I could go with you. But even if I could, I think this is an opponent you have to face on your own. But I know you'll survive this. And I'll be waiting for you right here. I promise. Freya, I'm so sorry. You did it! I knew you would! Hey, no battle is easy. Life should have taught you that already. But you came through on top and saved all these people from a lifetime of slavery. I'm proud of you. I figured as much. This is exactly what I warned you against. Look, I know you might think I'm trying to decide for you, but I just don't want you to get hurt like I was. What if you make a choice you'll regret? But only you can decide what to do with your life. All I can do is warn you against what might happen if you follow a certain path. And I think Mirak was an example of what awaits you if you become obsessed with power. That was the only thing of value he had. It's just like what happened to my father. Allowing power to define you will only make you waste your life, even if you manage to live forever. There's no joy in a life like that. It's much more fulfilling to appreciate what you already have, and share it with those you love. Then, when your end comes, I know you'll die with no regrets. I hope you do. I really, really do. Do we really need to be here? Whatever you have to do here, do it quickly. Let's get out of this temple, please. Do we really need to be here? Whatever you have to do here, do it quickly. Let's get out of this temple, please. Do we really need to be here? Please, let's leave. I can't be here. So, the legendary mead hall of the Companions is a boat turned upside down. Ugh, this place stinks like wet dog. Sorry. The library looks exactly as I remembered it. I like the old carpet better, though. These old men should bathe, or at least open the windows. Oh, and here I thought the Greybeards smelled bad. I owe them an apology. Yeah, I wanted to build a hideout, so I decided to put a sinister door in the open. No one will suspect anything. Ugh. Why would you even bring me here? Sure. Let's put a bar in a literal sewer.
Well,
said no one.
It is long since one of the living has entered here. May Shore's favor follow you and your errand.
Doesn't he speak a little weird to you? Seriously, what's with these people? Their speech pattern is creeping me out. Okay, I'm not going to this afterlife when I die. I don't want to get whatever disease makes them talk like this.